Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7. It is currently 3:30 in the morning and I was almost asleep and then I got like 10 pings on Discord. So I'm assuming that means there's something big in these here developer notes, and I can see, much like you can see now, that the scroll window is massive. So we're gonna have a video on our hands here, boys and girls and everything else, and I'm pretty excited. My chat's popping off right now. I haven't been reading it. I did get some spoilers with Holo Trials and Hunt levels increasing. So for those of you who aren't aware, I've tried to stream Epic 7 a little bit recently, and I've been really salty. I've been the saltiest mango. Like, you know when you take a bite of something, like perhaps a bite of a mango, and you just like take a chunk out and you're like, wow, that's rancid, you know? Like, that's kind of how I feel lately. There's just so much going the opposite direction for me with Epic 7 again, and it is not entirely their fault. It's often been my luck and RNG and how things have been going. Like, I upgraded 12 things on stream yesterday, and 11 of the 12 all hit minimum roll worst stat. So it's just kind of layers and layers of bad RNG. So new information and new ways of how things are being done is really exciting for me, and I'm really hoping to see some cool things. So let's get into this here. Before we begin, we would like to thank our heirs for their interest in E7. We're currently preparing improvements for battle content and UI, which many of our heirs have been anticipating. To be specific, Holo Trials and Raid Labyrinth Hell difficulty will undergo a big change. So I've talked about this a lot on stream. I've been expecting HUNTS 12, not 13. I wasn't expecting 13, but I was expecting HUNTS 12. And with the taking down of Holo Trials, I was expecting one of two things. One, a full redesign of Holo Trials in which it's more fun and more farmable, more something you do every day instead of X amount of times a week. Alternatively, I was thinking of some way to get the old artifacts. I thought it was going to be reruns of the old events. It seems it's not, but something similar. And for Hell Raid, I was expecting an increase to eye level some other way as well. Because with Hell Raid coming out, people who have been farming Hell Raid for a long time, they know that 88 gear is just so much better than 85. Like, my rings and my helms, if I can help it, are taken up by 88 gear instead of something else, even with defense set. So like a good 88 set gear would be insane. Also, your weapons for speed are pretty much all taken up by 88 speed gear. Same with your immunity chest, all 88 gear. So if they don't do something about 85 gear and hunts, either upping it or making drop rates better or something like that, people are going to have less incentive to farm hunts, therefore spend less leaves, therefore spend less money. So I assumed with this increase of 88 gear coming, we would get more stuff like that. So Holo Trials improvements, addition of a ranking system and rewards per rank achieved, removal of Book of Retribution and change in boss rotation period, new ice boss Xeno, and additional of exchangeable products artifact gained from the now removable base challenge content. So that's stuff like Ayala Violin, so you should be able to solo your A11 now. Also, Labyrinth improvements, including more 88 gear, equipment changes, multiple sets to be selected with a filter, aligning functions by sets added, direct access to the enhancement function, and improvements in hunts. Okay, Banshee Queen will summon minions only once. That's a huge increase to the clear speed. Cliniode will decrease defense only once per 2 turns. This also makes that differently easy. And also 12 and 13 are under development along with equipment reforging. So I have not read anything ahead about equipment reforging, but as we all know, this game kind of copy and pasted another game. And one of the biggest money makers of that other game is something called equipment, what is it even called? Reappraisal, basically. So with the other system you can re-roll specific stats on your gear and you can enhance them. So imagine being able to put like 5% extra attack on your attack percent on your substats, or imagine being able to re-roll flat defense into attack percent. Similar things to that. So that's what I imagine reforging is. So those are my semi predictions, obviously kind of loaded because it's pretty obvious by these little summaries here that that's kind of what it's going to be. So let's take a look at Hall of Trials. We can see scores here. I don't really care too much about top ranking, but I am excited to have them be more fun. So in the first iteration, players could measure their performance by looking at the grade received. However, the scoring system lacked a method to compare performance across all errors. Performance increases for top 100. Rewards will be given to heirs who score within the top 50%. So top 50%, I mean, that's not going to be too difficult to get. We can see S Plus giving 220 of those points, whereas D gives you 50. So there's actually an incentive not to suck, which is something that's really exciting, to be honest. Rewards will be given according to the grade. Upon acquisition of a higher grade from a new battle, additional rewards. Okay. For example, if for the first battle the player achieved an S grade, and in the following battle the player received a double S grade, the player will be given Wisdom's Grace equivalent to the difference between an S grade and a double S. Players can gain rewards according to the highest grade they receive with a single battle, and those players who want better rewards by requiring a higher grade or higher ranking can continue their trials. Along with this change, we will increase the reset time for each boss from 1 week to 2 weeks, so that players will have longer to develop new strategies on a weekly basis. After the first week of battle, there will be a preparation period in which only preparation battles will be available, where the player's scores will be not recorded. After this period is over, the weekly rankings and scores will be calculated using these two factors. Mango's hopped up on sleep medicine right now, my bad. So I'm not sure what to think about that. One of my not complaints, but like general confusions with this game is the way they separate literally everything into like, this is available now, except it's not available for these specific hours of the day, and this is also available now except for on Mondays between the hours of 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. and Guild War is only available on these 3 days. You know, there's a lot of things like that where it feels like there's unnecessary gaps in when you can do content, and it comes out more annoying than anything. So I'm hoping that's not what this feels like, but everything else in the game does. So for example, I went to do World Boss before I went to sleep, and it was still not ready for another 6 hours. I don't know why, but apparently that's how it works. So due to the increased reset time for each boss, the amount of Wisdom Gaze that can be acquired will be increased. Cool. But please note that the artifact available during the GG collab that was in the challenge section will not be added to the exchange. So this is kind of confusing for me. Maybe not confusing, maybe enlightening is the better word. By not adding this, they're saying one of two things. One is that they want it to be a big part of the collab when it comes around. Or two, they're not actually allowed to release it because of the collab rules. So I hope this means that there is going to be an incentive for them to rerun this soon, and I hope it's not the other one, but we can't really tell for sure. Cool. Xeno will be added as well. He was a pain to fight, if I remember correctly, in his thing. As we can see here, we can buy these pieces of stuff for 100 to 150 points here. And again, if we take a look at the rankings here, S gives you 220. So S is enough to buy like 1.5 pieces or 2.5 pieces, depending on which ones you're looking for. That's pretty cool, and I'm pretty excited about that. Hell difficulty, this is something I'm very excited about. We would like to sincerely apologize to our heirs for delays in regards to the raid Labyrinth hell difficulty. It took a very long time for us to fully evaluate a way to alleviate players' stress while they acquired rewards of great value by playing Raid Labyrinth Hell difficulty. We'll provide more detail about those improvements to blah 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 via live stream. So that's exciting. Hopefully our NA crew, shout out to Desperado and Mashu and New, get us a little bit of reveals for them as well. Speaking of also the live streams, every time there's a live stream, there's 1 to 2 a week depending on the KR stream. There is a survey for you to fill out. So that means if you fill out the survey within the hour period of the live stream, you'll get like 300k gold and some leafs for it. I really recommend you to do this. If you don't know when these are happening, feel free to join the Discord in the link description below, and I ping out the surveys every time they're there, so that's a way not to get them missed. So keep that in mind. I have the hiccups. 3 more bosses other than Devourer, Arakan, and Executioner Carcanus will be available. They'll appear at the same location, but will require new strategies and higher stats. Cool, cool, cool. Vera will no longer be an easy boss to hunt. Juleeve Council will become faster and fiercer. We also hope Queen Azumashik can give players an experience similar to playing one of the deepest levels of Abyss. As all bosses in Raid Labyrinth, Hell difficulty have unique difficulties and strategy complexities, and players will be able to access all of the 5 bosses immediately. In other words, unlike normal difficulty where players had to defeat 2 bosses in order to access the Queen, in Hell difficulty, players can directly fight against Queen Azumashik without having to defeat 2 bosses. As our heirs have waited for a long time, we hope you have fun defeating these bosses. So one of my hopes for these bosses as they go along, maybe instead of separating these between normal and hard mode, which just requires you to play these twice, the same thing twice basically, for very little rewards, but you kind of have to do it. Why not make one difficulty, but have like WoW levels of boss changes? So, for example, if we're fighting the Queen, the fight starts out on the same difficulty, and if we happen to trigger a certain thing in the boss, for example, we hit one of the things early, it turns into like extreme mode, and then we get the Hell loot instead, and it's one encounter. You know, isn't that a good idea instead of separating them out, especially if their goal right now is to reduce the amount of time we have to spend in raid? I think that would be a really cool way to do it and also make it more interactive and fun. Anyways, main rewards: hit set, health, speed, crit chance, effectiveness. Fantastic weapon. I wish it had attack percent. Why does it have crit chance over attack percent? Just doesn't make sense to me. Just absolutely pisses me off, actually, that doesn't have attack percent, because if you've got a hit set, you really want attack percent. A lot of those hit people that have that stuff scale with burns and bleeds and stuff. So just give us attack percent. Why give us crit here, you know? Attack percent helm here, health, attack, crit damage, effectiveness. Not bad at all. Again, I would either give us health, or I would either give us crit damage and crit rate, or dodge the crit damage altogether and make it an attack percent helm focused on buffers and debuffers that like attack, somebody like Araminta. So in that case, you could replace the crit damage with speed. The neck is bonkers. Defense, attack, speed, and effectiveness, almost a perfect neck. Effect resistance would be fantastic here, but you cannot argue with these substats. And I would be equally happy with effect resistance over effectiveness or attack. Maybe I would like attack better than effectiveness in a lot of cases, but this neck is just absolutely bonkers, straight up bonkers. And somebody who rolls great in that is going to have a baller PvP unit as opposed to somebody who doesn't. The boots. Defense percent. Defense percent gets a bad rap. I really like boots with defense percent, especially with subs these insane. Best subs you could possibly get. I don't think there are any better subs for these pair of boots, and they are really high rolls, and if you roll this really well, you're gonna have that light bait in Guild Wars that just demolishes everybody. Having somebody like this with 65% defense and then all the rolls in ER/health is just gonna make the biggest tank ever. Obviously, this would be better as speed or HP percent with defense percent reversed, but it is still a fantastic piece of gear, and it will still match perfectly up with a defense percent ring or helm that you have already gotten from Hell Raid. And the ring is, again, one of those ones where half the people are going to be running around with their 4,500 attack, 350 crit damage people, and the other half are going to be running around with their 130% effectiveness set. So I wish you luck on these gears, because a lot of them have really, really, really bad outcomes and really insane outcomes. So I'm really hoping these go okay. Portals directly to the boss. We've already read about that as well. Okay. Thus, the portals will consume 3 morale and give our heirs a new alternative. Cool, cool, cool. We'll see how this goes in. I hope this doesn't decrease the amount of rings we get. I know they mentioned rings here, and this is why you had to do the sub bosses here. Okay, this is going to be hiding, of course. Gold chests will appear upon defeating, acquiring galaxy. Yep. Lastly, in order for our heirs that have completed Raid Labyrinth normal to focus on hell difficulty only, malicious bug charms will be available at the shop for 3 lab compasses, so you don't have to spend them on your normal. This is really cool. I do like the way they change things, and I do think it's fantastic, but I also think they missed out on a couple opportunities here. Me personally, I really like the idea of a more randomized labyrinth that you have to actually have fun with. If anybody's played Path of Exile, shout out to the new Path of Exile League coming out in about 8 hours right now. They have something actually called the Labyrinth there, and it's random every day. Obviously, you don't have to go as far to randomize it every day, and each player, or each day it's different. So something like that would be fantastic, where you actually have to explore a labyrinth and there's chests to find, there's maybe levers to find. And again, the bosses, you can have one version of the bosses for everybody and have triggers to turn them into like their hardcore modes if you want, that are mechanically and lore-wise make sense, if that makes sense. Okay, but still exciting, and it's probably going to be a pretty big upgrade in all of our gears with all this 88 stuff coming in. Oh, Mango, let's go. Convenience improvements in equipment management functions. So the equipment management function was designed to help our heirs. First, our heirs will be able to select multiple sets. While players could only select one set previously, they will be able to select multiple sets for once. For example, if our heirs want to use speed and crit. Okay, that's really cool too. Filtering options regarding stats. Cool. I'm pretty excited for that. Hello to Pinot Noir there as well. And this is the one. Ooh, who are you? Let's go, girl. Hunt. One of the most important ways to increase the strength of your heroes will be improved in regards to its difficulty. First of all, Banshee Hunt will be changed. Okay, that's really cool. They're of course nerfing one wave of Banshee. Golem Hunt 11 will be changed. Cool. I like this as well, because this is one of the problems. I tried to run Golem, and it was actually one of my harder dungeons, because my mages had like 9k HP, even with HP subs, and they would just get bodied. So I'm really glad they changed that too. And we're also planning to update Hunt and introduce levels 12 and 13 to the future. We talked about this earlier. I was expecting this, but kind of wasn't sure if they would pull the trigger. But I expect these to drop, level 12 to drop maybe 88 gear. I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. They've got to drop 88 gear, right? Because if they don't drop 88 gear, we're just going to not do it still and do lab. Obviously, there's going to be higher drop rates for epic gear. And I also think they tone down the stamina a little bit, and this helps alleviate stamina problems as well. I think that's going to be something they do. As to note here, there's also 300 stamina on the picture here, so I don't know if they're just trolling us, but it is what it is. The addition of Japanese media packs to all servers, which our heirs have been long awaiting for, was previously announced to be scheduled for March. However, it will be delayed until April. That's fine. It is taking longer than expected for us. Yep. We thank our heirs, which is about to end, for Abyss 100, which was updated on March 5th. We will continue to introduce new content and improvements to our heirs. Once again, we sincerely thank you. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so Cool. Those are a lot of really positive changes, and I'm pretty happy with them. So I'm gonna go check to see if there's anything else with the Korean live stream going on right now, and I will be right back. Okay, so what I've seen, there isn't any new information out yet, and I need to go to sleep, so we're gonna release this as it is. When I wake up in the morning, if there's some new funsy things going on, I will also cover those. But for now, obviously the Holo Trials improvements are 10 out of 10. Being able to get Ayala Violin again and so many more is insane. Also being able to easily get dupes of them is also insane. There's also the Labyrinth improvements, which I hope is a positive change. It's really hard to tell from now. Obviously, new bosses means better gear, but if you compare what we have now, weekly clears of 2 bosses, if we got the 5 bosses and we can do them once a week, obviously that would take a lot of time to do, but we would have gotten way more gear. Maybe that's why they did it this way. So 5 bosses a month, I think it is, will still be enough gear. Hopefully we still get a good set of trash drops through rings and stuff. I don't know if I misread that, but I feel like those are still in it. I don't know how much just teleporting to the boss is going to help if that's the case. Obviously you can do it if you need, but I feel like you really need those mini bosses for those rings. Those rings are just so unbelievably insane. Equipment management and improvements, this is definitely something that needs to be changed. There was so much wrong with the E7 UI that I think it can be pretty easily helped, and I think that's a very positive change as well. Again, if we look at other games with equipment maneuvering and equipment outfitting, stuff like that, they just roll better, it feels better, and it's more fluent. And hunt difficulties. This one is going to piss a lot of people off, but I'm pretty happy for it. Right now, I'm honestly miserable doing hunts, just straight up miserable. I wouldn't be if there was no stamina problem. If I could run it as much as I want without spending $1 billion and without screwing myself in the future, I would do it and I'd be happy. But right now, with the problems with hunts, we need something desperately. They could have done alternative things like just remove 70 gear from the pool and have it all be 85, maybe increase the drop rate of 85. They could have done that as well, but honestly, I really enjoy building units and building teams for hunts, and I really hope that expands on that thing. One of the things I always say about Epic 7 in terms of what this game is missing, it's the drive to fuel units and the drive to need new units to do new things. Right now, it feels like you don't need to build anything for anywhere, and it feels like the game is lacking because of that. In other games you play, you think, I need to build X unit because I can use them in Y, but that just isn't really a thing right now for a lot of our veteran players, because we can do anything with anything, right? Like I can take a team of 3 green units and probably do just no problem on Wyvern 11. And it's kind of the same with Wyvern. It's kind of the same with Banshee and kind of the same with Golem as well. So I really hope these new stages really encourage some more unit building, because I want the drive to build more units, and I think you guys do too. So anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. As always, it helps out so very much. And if you don't, all your drops are going to suck just like mine. Bye, everybody.